Hello crafters, welcome back. This is Donna from Crafty BowZ with the second half of our keepsake box. Here we have it all put together. The last video we did the bottom and now we're going to do the top. So what we have here, a few items. This is going to be the bottom layer right here, and that is going to be, your bottom piece is going to be cut at 4 1/4 inches square, and the designer paper is going to be cut at 4 inches square. Then the next layer, which is the second layer right here that's holding all the goodies on it, that one is going to measure 3 7/8 square, and the designer paper is 3 5/8 inch square. Then we also have one more piece. This is going to be for the box frame. That would be the bottom half of our cover so that it doesn't drop into or slide around on our box. And we have a few other items. We have a pencil and we have a ruler. We have some pearls. We have some stickles. We have a butterfly, which this may look like mirror paper, but it isn't. I didn't have any, so I had to do the next best thing. I happen to have some holographic wrapping paper, and what I did was I cut a piece and I glued it to a piece of cardstock, and then I die cut my butterfly out of that. And let me tell you, I was happier with this than I was with mirror paper, because where it's holographic, it picks up all the different lights. So that's my butterfly. Then we have some roses to decorate the top, and varying leaves, and a doily. And we also have 2 lengths of ribbon, one pink, one white, and we're going to be making a bow with that, 2 bows with that. I'm going to show you a different way of making a multiple loop layered bow. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my designer paper to my 4-inch square. And get that all ready to go. Okay, that's layer number 1, the bottom layer. That's going to hold the box frame. And the second layer, which I already have one put together. So we have both our layers. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to create our box frame. And the way we do that is we want to score our frame on all 4 sides at 1/2 inch. So we have a 1/2 inch. Since this is 4 inches, we're going to go to 3 1/2. We're going to rotate it once. We're going to 1/2 inch and to 3 1/2. This is really simple, simple, simple. And then we are going to take our scissors and we are going to cut up to this first score line. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'm going to cut right up to that score line. So I have to turn it so the light will hit it. See how I've cut that? And then what I'm going to do is on the little tab portion, I'm just going to angle it a tiny bit and go in at an angle and cut out this little sliver of paper. Like so. Then when you're done, this is what it looks like. You're going to do both sides, and then you're going to do the opposite sides. Now we're going to assemble it. We're just going to fold all edges, and you're going to score them on all 4 sides. And then you're going to fold these little flaps in, grab my glue. I have to be very mindful of the time because YouTube only gives you 10 minutes. And I'm not that worldly so that I know how to change things and splice movies, etc., etc. So we have to do it quickly. So I'm going to line those up perfectly. I think you can see that. Okay. And we're going to do the other tabs the very same way. By cutting out that little notch, it allows for any errors where you might have cut on the wrong side of the fold line, and it just eliminates everything. Just line that up. So now we have effectively created a box. Let's attach the box to the very bottom layer, this layer here, and I'll show you how easily that's done. We're going to take our bottom layer, which is our 4 1/4 inch piece, lay it face down. Take our box upside down so that the edges are up. You place it down in the center, and the best way to measure this is just take two measurements. You're going to measure in 5/8 of an inch on one side and 5/8 of an inch on the other side, making any adjustments that you need. And that moved a little bit, and that should have it dead center. Now, since we have to glue this down, the best way to do that is to make little tick marks, because we're going to pick this up, I'm going to glue it and put it back down again. So I'm going to make a tick mark around the corners of each one of the corners of the box. And it really doesn't matter if it shows. I wouldn't worry too much about it. And remove our box. Can you see those tick marks? Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put glue on the cover of the box. Remember, it's on the cover. And we're going to place this down right on, I use the bottom 2 tick marks as my guide. And then I just check it out up at the top. And if I need to adjust it, I do. Just a little bit. Press it down completely and firmly into place. And you now have a box top or hat, whatever you'd like to call it. Okay, we're done with that. So let's bring on layer number 2, the one we're going to be decorating. Let's take our doily, and we are going to just put glue in the center of it. Smush it around. I like to use glue. It sets a lot faster. Tape can be a little bit annoying. And I'm going to eyeball this and place it down, and I'm just going to flip it over real quick to see if I am about even all around, and it looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to press it down, and our doily is fastened. Next thing we're going to do, let me get some of this stuff out of the way, is we're going to dry place our flowers. It kind of gives you a good idea of where you want to go with it. So I'm going to kind of place the 3 flowers off toward one edge of the doily. That's where I find it works the best. Let's put this aside for 1 second because we need to make our bow. That's all important. So we'll put that aside for the moment, and I'll bring the bow maker. Here's the Craft-Dee BowZ bow maker in, which, as you know, is totally self-contained. These dowels are held within the top here, and you have a handy hanger so that you always know where it is when you need it. So the first bow we're going to make is the smallest one, and these are the 2 holes that I have chosen. This is about 2 1/4 inches, and that's going to be the pink bow. Whatever bow is on top is going to be the one that you do first. And here's the idea here. I don't think you can see that. The pink bow and then the white bow underneath it. This is a layered multiple loop bow. So I'll show you how easily that's done. We're going to create an crazy 8 bow. That's what I call it. A multiple loop bow. So we're going to take the short end of our ribbon, put it against the left-hand dowel, create a U shape. Then when we come around, we're going to make a figure 8 and go in between the dowels, come down, and in front of this dowel make another 8 right in between the dowels and bring it back to a U shape. You can even out the ends a little bit. It just makes it easier tying the knot. Cross one tail over the other. Whatever tail is on top goes underneath. Gets pulled toward you. You go up and over the dowels. Make a knot, a single knot, and you're going to always pull it side to side when tightening it. And you're done. That's one bow, and it's only 2 loops. And we'll just fluff those out now. And look at that. Look at that adorable little bow. Those tails want to go down, so we'll let them go down. There's a cute little bow for you. Now we're going to make the larger bow, so I'm going to move this dowel over here. This is about 3 1/4 inches. So I'm going to take a longer ribbon because we're going to make 3 loops out of this bow. That one was 2. This one's going to be 3. I'm going to turn the bow maker so that it's more handy for me. Again, shorter end of the ribbon in your left hand around the dowels, make that U shape, and as you come around, you're going to create a figure 8. Loop it around, come back in the center, loop it around, come back around, loop and cross in the center. I don't mean loop, I mean cross. And one more time, cross in the center and out to the U shape. Now you notice I have one really long tail here. So let's loosen up the tension so that I can pull this left hand tail and kind of even them up a little bit. They don't have to be perfect. It's easier to work with. Back to the U shape, cross one tail over the other. Whatever tail is on the top goes underneath. Pull it through. And this is where you become a magician with both hands. You're going to hold the tail on 2 fingers on one side and your thumb and baby finger on the other. You're going to take the first bow that you made, and you notice where the tails tend to want to go in one direction. They're going down, so you're going to flip it upside down, and you're going to place it in the middle, and you're just going to bring the white ribbon up and over like you did the last time. You're going to encase that in the knot for the white bow. And pull it tight, always going straight out from the sides. Slide that up, and then fluff out your loops. And you notice that, see where these tails want to go down here, that the white ribbon is just a little bit larger than the pink one. And you can fuss with that as much as you like. So what I'm going to do while I have it in my hand, I'm going to trim those tails. I'm just kind of judging. And the white ones I'm going to make just a touch longer. I just think it adds a little bit to it. Okay, so our bow is ready to go. Let's remove the Crafty BowZ tool. And we're going to bring our cover back in. And this is where we'll be placing our bow, roughly. I like to get a visual on where I'm placing things. So this may move again, it may change around, you never know. Each one is different. We could do something like that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the ends of these leaves back a little bit. We don't need all that on there. So those are trimmed back. Let me glue down my flowers. Be generous with the glue. A hot glue gun would make this go a little bit quicker and a lot easier, only because I'm still shifting things around and the glue won't set right away. This is a great glue, this Tombow glue. But it does have a little bit of drying time. Not much, but a little bit. Place that down. And you can be generous with your glue. Place that right there. And you have wiggle room. You can, in other words, you can adjust some of these if you need to. Now what I'm going to do with the ribbon is I'm going to take a medium size, I forgot to get this out, it would make it a lot easier, medium size glue dot, because glue dots work very well on this seam tape. That's what I've actually used. So I'm going to pop it onto the glue dot, pull it off, and then I'm going to just make sure my ribbon is all fluffed the way I want it. I'm going to stick it on there where I think it's going to go. Okay, it's starting to shape up, isn't it? Okay, so let's do our leaves. And again, I'm just going to kind of guess at where I'm going to place these right now. Because remember, we have to put our butterfly in there. So it's kind of important. I kind of like that setup. And then what I'm going to do with my butterfly is I'm going to give him a little bit of shape. So I'm going to bend his wings a little bit. I'm going to bend them right up against this part of my finger and just bend inward, and do the same thing to the other side. It gives it a little bit of shape and it creates a really nice illusion. So my butterfly will probably sit right there. Or maybe it's going to sit right here. I don't know. Let me turn this. As I said, each one is different. We'll set our butterfly over here. So let me put a little glue on my butterfly, and I'm going to have to hold him for a second while he cures. I just put the glue on the bottom part of his body. I'm going to just hold it in place with my scissors for a moment until that glue sets. And when we're done with this, there, I think that's pretty good. That will hold for a while. So now I can dry place the rest of these leaves. And what I like to do before I actually, whoops, that pulled right out. Got a little glue there. I like to bend the leaves a little bit, give them a little bit of shape. I'm going to put some glue on the back, although it was getting stuck to my flower. Okay, pull this back out, bend it, a little bit of glue on the back. Whatever is pleasing to your eye. And don't worry about the big hole we have here, we're going to cover that up. And our last leaf, bend that. You're just curling the paper basically. Okay. And the next thing I want to dry place are the smaller leaves. They're kind of fillers. I know I want one in the center because that's going to fill in that little hole that we spoke about. Okay, I want to dry place that. And I think I'm going to place one out here because it's a little bit bare. I want to place it, which way? At a different angle, I think. And maybe a third one. I think we'll place it over here. There we go. Okay, that's where it's going to go. So I bent it a little bit so that it kind of sits up. Placing it right over the other one. Move that off to the side. See how bending it gives it a little more shape and a little more interest. We might be adding just one more of these. I like things at odd numbers. They have a much more pleasing look to the eye. And this one, we're going to put the glue in the front so that it will attach itself to the ribbon, because it really has nowhere else to go. Place it in there, and let's see, maybe a fourth one. Tuck it under there. Okay. Just press it down with my... Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is to add some pearls, whoops, to the corners. I think the more you add to it, the prettier it gets. I know they say less is more, but sometimes more is more. You just need that little extra something. Putting them on all four corners. And then if I feel like I need to add in somewhere, like over here and over here, I'm going to add in a couple more. Just random places. And if I feel that at one point I might need more, I can always add one right in the dead center there. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, we didn't really need it, but it looks fine. Now, the very last thing we need to do is attach this to the cover. Now, what I previously did before I started the video is I did double layers of pop dots. Now, this is going to be placed on the cover at an angle. So you don't want to be putting your pop dots in the corners. You want to be putting your pop dots on the sides. So we'll just turn that over, and we're going to add, I use tape, and I cut it. I love using tape rather than pop dots. I don't know why, it's just my preference. Everybody has their favorites. I can cut this at any size, width, length, etc. that I want. Now for the hard part, it's getting the tape off. So I like to use scissors because my nails just don't quite do the trick. Just get the scissors in there. Okay, and now we're going to place it off center. Whoops, come up there. And just kind of eyeball it and put it into place. Press down and press down. And the last thing I would do is I would add the glitter. I won't do that. We all know how to add glitter. And then just place it onto your box. And there you have it. Is that beautiful? With your little bow, maybe with your bow maker, your butterfly, and all your flowers. Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And be sure and contact us at www.craft-dbows.blogspot.com. And we'll be happy to ship out a Crafty Bows tool to you. It's one of the greatest tools you'll ever have. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Bye-bye now.